Hi everybody, let's jump into that session. I'm happy to see you with us to talk about CLNRest plugin, which is a new built-in plugin shipped in the last release 23.08, written by Shana, and this lets us do HTTP request to our node and query for JSON RPC command offered by the node, and also offer a WebSocket that notify us if we want or need. So we are going to see how to get this working, and let's go. So the plan, I'm running 23.08.1 because it was released yesterday, I think, and there are some fixes for CLNRest plugin that are nice to have there. And yes, I will talk about that in a few moments. So these are the steps that we are trying to do today. I will, as usual, I will do a little bit of not coding, but showing how we can do the stuff. And I stop. I go to this interface, and that way I can answer to your question if you have some question. But this is how we are going to do that. So let's get started. So. Yes, for the documentation of that plugin, it's still not. So we are going to see in, maybe if I can pull up. Yes, so docs. So in the docs, if we look for development, it's app development. So this is the plugin of today. Is really for people that write application on top of Core Lightning. And we see in app development section, we have one section called REST APIs that is not still not filled up with the information, but they are available in the Core Lightning repository, and soon will be also available on the web. On the files is doc, developer guide, app development REST, and we are going to jump into it and see. Okay, so this is a Python-based Lightning plugin, and what we want. So there are some. The plugin is installed with Core Lightning, but we still have to install some dependencies. So we are going to see that. And here we have the configuration, and the important point is if we don't set the REST port, and I think this is something similar with the gRPC plugin, if it's not specified, the plugin will disable itself. So when we start all built-in plugin with Core Lightning are started at when we start the plugin, but if we don't specify the REST port, this won't start, and we're going to see that. So first thing, so we jump into a terminal, and we are going to source. So in the Lightning repository, there that script that gives us some command line that we can use to start some nodes running on regtest locally, and this way we can play with Core Lightning. Let's use start ln, and if we use it like this, we are going to start two nodes. So yes, we have two nodes running. We have those aliases L1-CLI for the first node, L2-CLI for the second node. So let's check if they are really running. So first, to show what it is, I'm sure that you've already seen that check on the FastCapian, but anyway, for the recording for others, this is the node. So this is analysis for Lightning CLI running on a specific directory with a specific directory. So if we okay, L2 CLI, we just want to see if the node is really running. So maybe we can just do get info, JQ, and maybe we just want the ID. And if we get something like we have the node running. And let's go back to the node, okay, and okay. So to take in place, so we're going to restart L2 with CLNRest. Then we're going to see that REST API offer the Swagger user interface, and we are going to see how to use it. This interface gives us the command, the curl command that we can use to do a HTTP request to the node. But if we go, we'll see that on the documentation. This also gives us those requests in other languages, and there are many. So this is really neat. Then we are going to do a list method to list the method that we can do a request. We are going to see why we need a rune. So rune is an authorization token, and so to access some part of to do some request. What we do is we call command to run on the node, and we need to have authorization to run the command. So those authorization on restriction in core Lightning are called rune, and we will see that we can decide to restrict to some command or more, or to have access to all the command running in the node. We are going to pay an invoice. Then at the end, we are going to look the WebSocket. So if there is an example in the documentation that we are going to take and run on Node.js. And for this is a good moment also to talk about checkrun, which is a new command that has been added in Core Lightning 23.08. Which can be used by plugins to restrict their application, and this is done in CLNRest plugin. And we are going to look at the source code of CLNRest and see how it has been used to show an example of checkrun. So we go back here as we so. What time is it? To see if, okay, we are good in time. So let's go to temporary L2 rec test and check for the log. So I want in that session to show where we can get information and play with the node. So we are going to look at that. The log. So we just started the node thanks to start ln. And we see at the top of the log that we have a plugin manager that started a bunch of logs, plugins, AutoClean, Chain Backup, BCLI, and we can see there that it also starts CLNRest.p. But we haven't specified a REST port, so we see there another thing that happened in plugin REST, and we see a little bit more down there. Okay, we have it there. So we can see that killing plugin, so the plugin -CLNRest, disable itself at init, REST port option is not configured. So if you've never tried to debug or to check the log, this is a good place if something doesn't work. And maybe to report issues if you encounter issues not in CLNRest, but in general. So let's restart the node with CLNRest. So we can first we stop the node, and we want this. It's no longer Lightning CLI, but Lightning B. We go there and we add REST port option, and let's put 3010 as in the prescribed in the documentation, and we want to start in daemon. So we hope so it works correctly. This is some stuff from Python that I don't know exactly what they mean, but this is running, and we could check on the log. But we are not going to do that. We use nc, so netcat to -z fix it to check that something socket is running on. So we want verbose. -z, I think, is to not send data. We run it on local host because if we go to the documentation, we blah blah blah. Okay, so by default, so the REST host, as we didn't specify, is a local host. And as we do not specify the protocol, this is HTTPS that has been done, chosen. So 3010, and we see that we have something running on that things. Before we jump in the Swagger user interface, let's go back again in the documentation and see that we don't specify the REST certificate, so the directory, I think it is, where the TLS also. I'm not. It's not clear for me that things about the SSL TLS, so I don't want to go too much into detail because I don't know, but I just tell you so. When we started, if we were running the plugin gRPC, we would already have certificates files, and CLNRest would have picked those certificates. As we are not running gRPC, they have been put in the normal location, so which is for the node L2 rec test, and we can go there. And we see that we have those two files that are used. So they are self-signed certificates, and that's it. So let's come now something more, a little bit more visual, as if we can say. So HTTPS // and localhost, and we go. So this is what we have. We want HTTPS not secure, but we go for it, and we get, this is a Swagger interface that we have, and we can start doing some stuff here, and get and try to understand. This is you know about the user interface. So one of there's one get how to say endpoint that we have on where we don't need to have any authorization run to run. This is a list method, and after we'll see that we need for the other. So list method, we can look at that. So yes, so we can do try it out, and now we can execute. And did it work? Yes, it works. So the endpoint is this one, so v1 list methods, and it lists all the methods that are available that we can call with some information about them. We see, so yes, there's nothing special here, but if you want, or if we want, so let's go to the node, and I've taken that one. If we want to do the curl, as we are running with a self-signed certificate, curl won't let us do the request. So we can use insecure to bypass the certificate. So if we do that, I hope this works correctly. So we have that list, the same that we had in the Swagger interface. Okay, so let's continue a little bit. So no longer this one. So this was for the thing that don't need rune. And let's go back to the node to see where we are. So we've seen, and so that one, and that one. So, okay. So just check the time, and I will go there to see if we have some questions. So, okay. Hey. So, do you have some question about what we've done right now? Okay, so let's continue. So if you have any question, put them in the chat, and we continue. So now we want to do the first thing. Each time I try something with Core Lightning, I always want to do what is the simple case get info to do that thing. So now we want to do a get info, and this is a post request that we have to do, and to do that we need a rune. So for the rune, we can go there. So in LN room, so we did the session during this summer. So intro to Commander and Commander rune in 23.08. Commander rune no longer has been deprecated, but it can be used create rune to produce the same rune. But if you want to know more about how runes works on the registering system, I encourage you to check at least the first part of that live. But the rune are really a token that we have, that the node gives us, and we can give it to application to run whatever is authorized in the rune. So let's go back to the terminal, and we want the node L2 to give us, because we are, with that REST API, we are accessing the node L2. So at some point we need also to be with the node L2 to get that information, and to be able to give it to some application. So now create rune is done like that. So we in that case we don't need to put any argument, and we get a rune that is as we can see here, that is unrestricted. So it's important not to give that rune to application you don't trust or you don't control, because you give the full access to your node. And we are going to see after that, as we just want to restrict to do invoices, we can limit to invoices while taking so much risk for those things. So we take the rune, and now we go back into the Swagger interface, and we see that we can authorize, and the rune will be passed in the header with the name or the key value, the key rune. We authorize, we close, and now we can go to that part, and we see that we have the first part, and the endpoint is v1 and any RPC command that we want to run. And in our case, so now we want to run get info. So we specify, and by filling those fields, this will do as what has been done before, which is to do the request, and also to give us the syntax of the request. Get info takes no argument. We execute, and as always, we want this to work, and we can see that in the response we get exactly what we would have had with if we do L2 CLI get info. So we get exactly the same thing, but this is a request that we do from another application. So we have it here, and we can see that in this line. So in the header, we pass the rune because this is at some point there is a check on the rune with the name of the application that with the get info at the end that we pass, and this must match with the authorization of the rune. Okay, so let's take that. Go back here. We'll do it in the terminal also. So as we did before, in secure to bypass the self-signed certificates, data empty at the end, and we have that. And if we run, this gives us the get info information. Okay, great. I think it's great. So one fix now, we can go to the docs. So what's cool with the documentation, it's really fast to find the information. And here we have the, how to say, the in the API reference at the first, we get the what we've seen here. Okay, so we have the v1/rpc method and v1 list. And what's cool in that case is that you can pick whatever language you want and test it because it's running all in an instance, as we can see here. So I don't know why I can't highlight, but okay, here we can highlight. So this is running on an instance on the blockstream.com. So things can be tested without running anything. And if we want for PHP, we have the thing Python. And big surprise is that I don't know if it's a surprise, but it was cool to see that there are many for many languages. One thing to note: if you are running Core Lightning 23.08 and not .08.1 that I'm running, before it was required to pass the node ID with in the header. So if we go back there and we see the request, here we have a run in the header of the HTTP request, and before it was needed to pass the node ID, but it's no longer needed. But if you are running and you still have an application that passes the node ID, it's backward compatible, so it's no problem. But I wanted to do it in 23.08.1 to have really the new things. So that's it for where we can find the information. If we give, so go back to the node and we go to post. So we did a get info with an unrestricted run. So we could have done any other requested any other command because the run let us do that. But now let's say that we want to restrict the run to only invoices. Okay, so for security, because we just want, for instance, to have a web application, let's say, that offer people to just press on the offer an invoice with a QR code. So we put the run on the. There is no fear for this. Let's. So I will look at the man page of create rune. So we have it here. This is something I do it with my editor, but maybe you can do it also, or in the, how to say it, in your terminal. And let's say, as we are talking about the documentation a lot today, let's say where we can have those information. So Here we can create rune, and we have it. So the search is really cool in the documentation. So the information is also available here. But let's go back. I feel better in my editor. So create rune, we can pass give it nothings, or we can pass it a rune and some restriction that will restrict from the parent rune that we have. Or we can just escape the rune and pass it restriction, and this is what we are going to do. And here we have the language, the syntax and language that can be done, that can be used to do the restriction. Let's go back to our terminal, and what we've said is that we want to do. We should have it. Yes. So L2-CLI create rune. Null is something that can be used in any command line that we use in Lightning CLI to skip a positional argument. So we skip the rune, and now we pass the restriction, and we want to restrict. So it's an array of restriction of alternatives, and we want to restrict to the method. So we pass it method equal to invoice. So I think it's like that, the syntax. Okay, so this is the right syntax. We get a new rune, and this rune is allow only for invoices command. Okay, cool. We are going to try to do a get info with that rune. Okay, to see that we failed at doing that. So we change the rune. Here we authorize that new rune. I hope this has been authorized correctly. We still try to do a get info, and now we want to see the response body, the error that we get. Okay, so we get that error code 1502, not permitted, method is not equal to invoice. So this is really a powerful system to have a rune, and that possibility to have this this way of filtering what we can or can't do with that REST plugin has been made possible by extracting the create rune part in the Commando plugin to put it in the core of Core Lightning, and this is offered now to any plugin developers. So this is really cool. So we have the error. We won't try it again in the terminal, because this is the same thing. We will have to pass that to copy that and to add insecure. So we get that done. Now I'm telling you, yes, we've restricted the rune, and what happens is that we can't no longer use get info, but maybe I'm lying to you, and it doesn't work neither with invoice. So let's try that. So maybe I will remove that part. So I do that things with the invoice, and then we okay. Yes. So I want the main page of a list of invoice. So we have Lightning invoices just to see the argument. So now invoice takes 3 mandatory arguments, which are the amount in millisat, label, and the description. So we need to pass that in the data of the request. And I have something here already prepared. So we have that. We have the amount, we have the label, the description. So 10,000 millisatoshi. Pizzas have, so for the label is must be unique in the node, in the Core Lightning node, and this is I think to get the invoice unique in the to have the invoices unique in Core Lightning in the database. And okay, so we are there. Now we passed that, and we change get info to invoice. And if we run that, this should have worked. So yes, so the response that we have is that one. So we have the Boltile1 invoice return. We see that the request URL is the base with v1 invoice, and we see also in that part that so we pass the data, which is exactly the payload of the command invoice. And really important, in the header we pass the room. So we have that. Now go back to the terminal, and we can find that it is something that is offered by the script that we sourced at the beginning, which we found a channel between the node L1 and the node L2. This way we will be able to pay that the invoice that we've just generated doing an HTTP request. Just to this way we see everything working, and really that when we do the request, we reach the node, we do JSON RPC request, and we get back the answer, and the node has been the state of the node has been modified. So it takes some time. Blah blah blah. We have that. Just what do I want to do? So we are here, and then I will take some question. Okay, so it's almost done. I drink a bit of water. Tick tack, tick tack. Okay, so now we have a channel open between the node L1 and the node L2. In the node L2, we should see something change, because remember there when we did the request, we've generated an invoice. So this should be we see it in the list of invoices, and the status is unpaid, and now we can pay it L1 CLI pay. So for the brave and the one that want to do it differently, now we could use RenePay, but it makes no sense when we have just two nodes. So I won't do that. And let's take that. We pass it, and we've paid that invoice. So that's it for we can say the really basic of the HTTP interface offered by a CLNRest plugin. And then we are going to see the notification with WebSocket, and we end with the check run, which is new in 2308. And I must add also that this session is a kind of the last part that we haven't done last week, to present what have been done in the last release, things that are new. So we are here. Hi Timmy, hope you're doing well, and you all are doing well. Let's go in the chat, and is there any question? Or maybe thought, or maybe you were already using another plugin like that do the same thing. So I think it was called CLNRest from RTL application. Okay, so I will continue. If you have any question, please stop me, and we can do that. And let's go back here. And before we jump into WebSocket and checkroom, let's go back to the documentation and look for gRPC API. Why? Because I was telling you at the beginning that I quite don't understand those certificates and how this works. I can't present it and show you how to do it the proper way. So here there are an example that explain how you can do that with your I think with your yes, with your own custom domain. So if you are interested and want to check that out, you can find the information in the gRPC documentation. And as I'm here, if anyone knows how to do those stuff and want to share with me and to teach me, please reach me via direct message. And if you have some time to explain me, I would be your best student, I hope. Okay, so let's go to WebSocket. So WebSocket, we go back to the documentation inside the repository, and we can see there is a section called WebSocket. And yes, we are going to add that. And we see so WebSocket server is available at /ws, and we can see CLNRest queues up notification received for a second, then broadcast them to a listener. We have two examples on Python and Node.js. We are going to take the one from Node.js and run it and see how it works. But first, maybe you don't know what are notifications, so we can look for notification. So event notification, I think this is that part. Yes, this is that part. So when Lightning is doing stuff, let's say it's doing its works, at some point it can send notification to plugin that register to a notification topic. So if you want to be, we see on the right, you can see, I don't know if you see my, yes, we can select all those things. So this has all the notification topics that we can, as a plugin, subscribe, and the WebSocket offered by CLNRest will send those notifications each time they happen. So if let's say you are running a plugin and you want to check each time you connect, you can subscribe to connect. With CLNRest, also we will receive any connect notification when we connect to a node. In our case, right now, we are going to do the same thing, create an invoice and pay it. So we are going to see the invoice payment. See the invoice creation. And maybe the invoice payment, I'm not quite that sure, but sure we are going to see the coin movement. Okay, so let's run that JavaScript example. Let we go to the note, and we can see the file that we have. We just have the note on the Lightning repository, and let's open something that we call CLNRest WebSocket.js. We passed that here, so we can see that we require socket.io client. We instantiate the socket object at that end point. The reject unauthorized is to bypass the certificate that we have, and for each socket event or WebSocket event, connect message and disconnect, we subscribe to them. And for the one for connect, we just print out I'm connected. For the messages, we show the data. So the data that we are going to receive are the notification. Okay, so now let's go back. No, we open a new terminal because we are going to do something cool. So in one terminal, we are going to see to have that script running, and in the other, we are going to do the operation with the operation invoice and pay with the REST API, and we'll see the WebSocket working. So we need to install npm this one. So we need to install that socket, that package. So we install it. Now we can run this. So CLNRest. Okay, so we are connected. Why? Because we are running CLN REST. So we get that. So we are connected. Now what we can do? We go back to our Swagger interface. We generate. Yes, I want to generate, but I would like to yes, this is what I wanted to do. I want them side by side so that we can see the notification live. So we need to change. So we do an invoice request, and we need to change the label to be unique. So let's call it inv1-1, and we run again to get a new port 11 invoice, and I will click and look at the right. And we receive the notification, and we can see that the notification is an invoice creation as we've seen there at the beginning. So, okay, anyway, so this is one of the notifications that we can have. Let's now, we no longer need to have this like that. And what can we do? Yes, we want the port 11 invoice generated by the node L2. And let's open the other terminal. So at the top, this is the first terminal that we add. At the bottom, we have the terminal running the WebSocket. And at the top, we run L1 CLI pay, and we want to pay that invoice. Let's pay, and what we are interested is to see at the bottom the notification. So we've received. So let's just focus on that terminal. So we quit, and we see what we have. We've received 1, 2, 3 notification. Okay, so that's cool, no? I find this this cool. I hope you too. So we've seen the part with the socket and notification. We have 10 minutes left. Let's see if we have some question. We are here. Any question? I will use. I did it last time. It's cool to. I want this one. Boom. So we are almost done with that presentation of CLNRest, which is a built-in plugin written in Python. Ah, yes, I remember something. I remember some things. It was the dependencies. Okay, so the dependencies can be found in the documentation. Okay, but I put them here also. So there are some of them. If you are on Ubuntu, that we can install as Ubuntu .deb packages, and we need to add some other with pip tree. So anyway, I hope this work for you, and you can try it and build the application with CLNRest if it's a better fit than maybe Commando or gRPC. But it's cool to have that built in. Okay, so last part, and we are going to do that maybe in the. I won't say that this is my preferred part, but when we go into the source code, I always feel more comfortable. I don't know why. But anyway, so check rune. So man page of check rune. Okay, so the check rune is a RPC command that checks the validity right off specified from the rune with give, the node ID, the method, and the parameter. So this is that thing. This is used in PyLN, and we are going to look at that. And maybe we can look right now to check with the rune that we have. Where it is. So we have that rune. Okay, it is there. Can I double click? No. I have to take it, to select it like that. So okay, we have that rune, and now the terminal, first terminal, and I want at the bottom the man page of check rune just to see the node. Okay, so L2 CLI check rune, and we pass it the -k to pass it by key value argument. It's always better when we deal with a rune because they end with padding that are equal, and this is normal for base 64 encoding, but that messed up with the command line parameter if we don't use -k. So we use -k rune. We passed that, and yes. So it's not important, the first error that I did. So, and now we want to check with the method, and we pass it the method, and if we pass it invoice, that says, does that rune let us do invoice request? So let's focus on that terminal. We give a return, and we get valid true. So this is something that we can use to filter what we want to let access some application with our plugins. So really cool. Now let's change invoice with get info to see that if we don't do that, we get an error. So we get that code 1502 that we get previously in the Swagger interface, and this is not permitted. Method is not equal to invoice. So this is a cool thing that can be used by a plugin. And now let's go into the Lightning repository. So I am in the Lightning repository. We look for CLNRest plugin. So it's under the directory plugins. So plugins directory. And this is the plugin. Now, in that plugin, what can we do? So I know where it is, but I show you it's really how I look for, and I work when I try to discover some other things. Okay, check rune. This is just by CLNRest. I do a grep for check rune, so this is not exactly what I wanted because I did regular expression grep on the entire repository, and I just wanted to do it in that repository, and we get one check rune. So we can go into the files in under that directory, utilities shared.py. So let's go to that file, and we see that we are using the plugin is doing a call to check run at some point, and we pass it the run, the method, and the parameters that we send, as we see in the Swagger interface. So the parameter are those one, okay, and the run will be this one, and the method is what we have at the end of the request URL. So all those things get there, and so this define a function that is called verify run. So we get some request. We want to verify the run to see if we can go further. The call RPC method is really it's a wrapper. So remember that CLNRest is a plugin and is written with PyLN client library, and so can connect to send RPC command via the Unix socket offered by Lightning D to do any JSON RPC request on the node. So call RPC, it's just a wrapper that we can see here that do a number of errors, and we can see that what we do is really plugin.rpc.calls. And let's jump here and go back to maybe that one. So we did in LN Room, so we did some live and also videos. So okay, so we have that that one. So to understand PyLN client, if you want to know more about what we are talking right now, there are several videos about the implementation of PyLN client if you want to understand a bit more, or just write some plugin. So you can check the Biweekly Live plugin session part 2, LN Room 10, 11, and I think 12 and 13. So if you want, but anyway, at some point we can do that request. So we do that request with call RPC. Last thing, verify run. So this is the Python function that do a call thanks to the plugin library, RPC call to the node to run check run. Okay, to run the command that we've used used here. This is exactly what we do, but it's written on Python, and with the interface, the plugin interface. And last thing, and we have done verify run. So we do regular read grep in just the CLN repository, and we see that we get it's used in the RPC root, and we can see if it's we see so these are the notation. I think that yes, they are doing that with Flask, and they use Python decorators to define the root, and the root is / any RPC method, and the function here we have the post with the RPC method. And we see him verify run. So we do try if that works. Okay, so we do the check run. If that works, we have no exception. So we get to that second try, and at that point we see that we want. Okay, the reason request get JSON is to get the payload, so the parameters that we want to pass. So let's to see exactly what we get, and this is that part that we want. Okay, the payload of the invoice method. We get it here, and we do again call to RPC with that new RPC method, and it seems that to work the framework work like that. So we give that sorry, I'm messing it. Okay, so we return that. So this is the thing that returned with the HTTP status 201 And this is what we get here. So we have this and the statute code. And that's it. That's it. So let's go back to the notes. Check rune, super cool. And I'm sure that you have already ideas on how to use it in your next plugin or application. So if you have any question or comment or anything that you want to share with me and with us, we have a few minutes. By the way, if there is any topics that you want to see in live or in any videos, tell me. Thanks, Tony. I might dig into the RPC stuff later. Would allow me to eliminate LN message from my frontend app. Okay. Yes, maybe. Yes, maybe it's a better fit for you. Cool. So you can tell us if it's better if it's a better fit for you when you've done it.
All right, Tony. Unless anyone has any questions, again,
yes.
Thank you for a great time.
Thank you, everybody, and see you in 2 weeks.
Awesome. See you in 2 weeks, everyone. Thanks, Tony.
Bye.